Welcome back to my channel, ladies and gentlemen, Back to New, where we try to take some old things and make it new again. All right, today we have these MCM telephone tables, and these things are, I like to call them hideous. As you can see, they have cracks and some blemishes. It even has issues there at the bottom. So what I'm gonna have to do is put just a little bit of work in them, but not too much. First things first, you have to clean these things and make sure you get them really nice and degreased. Look at all that grease on there. And then of course I have to sand them. Took a little while. I could have used my chipper, but I decided not to. So I had to sand the bottom, I sand the top. Now I don't know if you've watched any of my other videos. I made the mistake of sanding inside the garage. Never sand in your garage. It's always best to sand outside unless you have some sort of a vacuum. Now I'm not gonna sand the whole thing. What I'm gonna do is end up painting pieces of it, and then I'm gonna stain the rest. Now we can see that crack. We can see where it begins, where it ends. At this point, I don't know how I'm gonna stain it. I would keep it natural, but as you can see, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, well, I gotta cover up that crack. How is that gonna look with a natural stain, like a big scar? I may have to adjust what I decided to do. But anyway, I filled in that scar. It looks really good, or some of you may call it a crack, whatever. It looks pretty good to me. So far, so good. I guess if I get it darker, that's what I'm thinking at this point, maybe it'll go away. All the sanding wasn't by my electric sanding. Some of it had to be done by hand, and I absolutely hate doing it by hand, but you have to do what you have to do to make it look as best as you can. Now this is an old piece of furniture, so I go out and get my Phillips head screwdriver, and you guessed it, this may be before the time of Phillips, I don't know. So I had to go back into the garage and got a flathead screwdriver to get the job done. I've taped it off because now it's time to paint. I'm trying to decide what color paint I'm going to use. Now this is a vintage piece, so what I want to do is keep it as vintage as possible. So I went and looked at some mid-century modern colors. You can find this online. I found it on Google, and these are all the different colors I guess they used during the mid-century modern time. I had to stay away from green because everyone is telling me I use green too much. And I wanted something kind of soft, but not too soft. Otherwise, I would have gone with white or something. So I decided to choose, you guessed it, blue. It still looks somewhat green. That's what it looks like on the stick there. I chose to go with the one on the right, although the one on the left, the gray, is probably my favorite color. So now we're all taped up and I get a chance to paint. Now I know a lot of you are looking at me like, why are you using that brush? Well, I like to use that brush only to get the corners and maybe the edges. I don't do a whole lot of brushing with it actually, because I use my roller, my 4-inch roller. And so, you know, I just kind of use that brush just to get the corners so that I can make sure that they're all sealed in there. And then I get those legs. Those legs are hard. If y'all are liking what you see, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Hit that subscribe button. Do me a favor, go ahead and click the like button too. It probably won't hurt if you go ahead and make a comment. I think I like that too. Now I finished painting, and so I have to go ahead and do a little scuffing, a little sanding job, and make sure we get some of the tough spots off. And I think there was quite a bit, but we went back to putting a second coat. Now on these, for some reason, I guess because that paint was kind of thin, or at least the color was, I had to put 4 coats on this thing. 4 coats. But then I decided to go a little bit darker on the color. So this is Espresso by Varathane. This is actually what I use in my bathroom countertops. Had a little bit left over. I thought, how smart would it be just go ahead and use that and save a little bit of money? So I put these on, so I had to go with the direction of the grooves on the wood. On the bottom part, you see, it was coming towards the camera. but on the top part, it was going kind of sideways. There's 2 end tables, so I must do it twice. You can see that scar is still kind of there. Now, when I put the wood filler, it said it accepts stains, and it does absorb a little bit, but it wasn't just great. As you can see, there's a huge scar down the middle, but that's okay. I decided to do something different. Again, I told you I have a little surprise for you. And that surprise is right here. I decided to whitewash. 1 part paint, 2 part water. Off camera, I did kind of measure it out, so I wasn't just going based off my own knowledge. Trust me, I had to measure it out because I've never done this before. This is my first time, but it came out so amazing. And I wanted to test it in the back first because if I made any mistakes, I figured most people wouldn't look at the back. And I didn't want to do too much. It's kind of like whenever you get that shaving cream. I don't know, some of the fellas may know. They tell you when you use this new shaving cream, test out a small spot. That's the thinking that I had with this. I was testing out a small spot. Although it was a large piece of the back, I believe the back I could have just fixed if I'd have messed up. But this came out just right. And then I wiped it off. Took 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wipes. I can't remember how many. Nevertheless, once I got it to just how I wanted to, I knew exactly what to do next. Now I'm ready to put it on the top, real nice and slow. But you can't leave it on too long. I was told, and after doing my research, that you only want to leave it on for about a minute or so. I almost found out the hard way because it started drying on me and it became very difficult to get off. So for those of you who do this for the first time, either I didn't use enough water or I let it stay on a little bit too long. Full disclosure, there's 2 end tables. I made my own whitewash, but I also went and bought some. So on 75%, I use what I made. 25% I use what I bought. And look at that. It's starting to come out so nice. Got to wipe it back a little bit. Now here's where I messed up. I may have wiped it too soon on this one because it came out way more red than I wanted it to. So I had to keep wiping it back and add more and wipe back and add more and add some water because it got too thick to kind of make sure that it wouldn't stick. It was just all kind of trouble. I definitely want to remind you all that my voice has been going out. It will be back in a couple days. So when I do my next video, I'll be back to my normal sexy self. So just please, thank you for bearing with me during this tough time I'm dealing with right now. But yeah, I'm just washing this and I washed off all the paint. It still had like a little glimmer of whitewash, but it was not quite how I wanted it. So what I had to do, and I did it off camera, is add another coat. In fact, I think I added 3 coats to this particular piece here. And finally, I got it the way that I wanted to. Now, another thing that I did off camera is I went and bought some spray paint for the handles. Originally, the handles were kind of a rusted color. I don't know if that's what that color was. But then I went and bought brown after cleaning them really good with some paint thinner. Spray painted them brown, gave it 2 coats, and then I added some polyurethane to it. Here's another look of the before, and here's the look after. Don't forget to subscribe on my page. Thank you so much if you made it this far. Please leave a comment, like, tell me what you think. Tell me where you're from too. I'd love to hear where all of the people who are watching this video are from. But until next time, thank you for watching Back to New.